4 people have died and 50, in fact, suffered injuries when an iron bridge over the Indrayani River collapsed with over 150 tourists on it. The incident, in fact, happened at Kundamala, which is a popular but an offbeat tourist site, which is roughly around 30 kilometers from Pune. And there are a number of whirlpools and waterfalls in this area. The NDRF team, what sources are saying, received a call within 20 minutes and they responded immediately. But questions remain on lack of maintenance of these bridges. This particular bridge that we are talking about was 30 years old and was supposed to be used only by the pedestrians. However, two-wheelers were used frequently on this bridge, and hence the safety of this bridge was compromised. In fact, last week the district collector, we are told, had issued prohibitory orders urging people to avoid waterfalls and rivers, particularly because of the monsoon season. So the question that I wish to ask on the show tonight, and I'll be joined by the district collector in a few minutes, that why wasn't the bridge then closed for the tourists? Why did they just stop at just the warnings? In fact, what we are also being told is that last year the BJP MLA and minister in this area, Ravindra Chavan, had sanctioned 80,000 rupees for the repair work of this collapsed bridge. However, that money was also not used. So why were the funds not used is another question. Just look at this before and after picture of the bridge now. And I'll ask, yes, you can see this is before this entire bridge. You can see a two-wheeler, in fact, moving ahead in that bridge. And this is after the collapse. These two pictures actually show some warning signs, particularly that it was not made for more than one person. Then why were the two-wheelers being used? You can see a motorbike, in fact, moving ahead on that bridge. Right there, I would ask, you can see that image. The question is, why didn't the officials ensure that this bridge was completely shut? The bridge had a width of just 4 feet, making it extremely narrow. However, at the time of the tragedy, there were around 7 to 8 bikes on this bridge. In addition to the huge crowd, officials have said that more than 100 people were present on the bridge, ignoring the warning signs, the boards which were there at the spot, right there on your television screens. And potholes had also appeared on this bridge, causing two-wheelers to collide. Locals had put some cement blocks on the bridge to temporarily cover the potholes, and the local administration was of the opinion that despite the structural audit, they had let this bridge function. A letter was also written to the Public Works Department and the Gram Panchayat 2 years ago. Several unanswered questions here. And here's a special report from Anuj Rayatian, and then I'll go straight to the District Collector of Pune, who will be joining us shortly.
At least 4 people lost their lives and 2 others were critically injured in the tragic bridge collapse in Pune's Kundamala village on Sunday. But beyond the loss of lives, the incident has exposed a deeper crisis: the constant blame shifting between local authorities. Built in 1992 for local access, the bridge had over time turned into a weekend tourist stop. What was once a rural pathway became a selfie spot, blocking movement and putting pressure on an already fragile structure.
We the locals were facing a lot of problem because of this tourist also, because it's the issue that the bridge was very small and the tourists used to stand on the bridge. We couldn't see the other vehicle coming from there, from here which we were going or the locals were going. They couldn't see the vehicle and it used to get a block over there.
सैटरडे संडे को हज़ारों नहीं 2000-3000 पब्लिक यहाँ पे रहती है, क्योंकि लोनावला अगर बंद हो गया तो ये एक पब्लिक स्पॉट ऐसा है कि पुणे के पास में हाईवे पे जल्दी में हो सकता है ऐसा स्पॉट यही है। वो ब्रिज के ऊपर लोग खड़े रहते थे, सेल्फी निकालना उनका सबसे गंदा काम था। उसकी वजह से जो आने जाने वाले लोग रहते थे उनको ज़्यादा तकलीफ रहती थी। हमको तो एक ही रास्ता था उधर जाने के लिए, उसके लिए ज़्यादा तकलीफ रहती थी।
According to the villagers, this freak accident was bound to happen. Repeated warnings and letters to the authorities were ignored.
ये ब्रिज गिरने वाला है ये तो हमको पता ही था।
ये 100%
ये 100% पता था।
इतना लोग
मतलब वो
जाता आता था ना, खड़ा रहता था ना, वो घूमने वाले लोग आता था ना, वो किसका सुनता नहीं था।
एकदम सस्ते से गवा दी।
On a weekend with thousands of people gathering, the absence of police on site raised serious questions about crowd management and accountability.
रविवार के दिन ज़्यादा भीड़ रहती है उधर, उन्होंने रुकना चाहिए था। अगर वो रुकते तो जो घटना हुई थी वो नहीं होती थी और 8 लोगों की जान बच जाती।
While the locals, the eyewitnesses and even the sarpanch has gone on record to say that the presence of police would have reduced the number of casualties or the extent of the damage here, the senior PI here at Taregaon Dabadi police station holds that 4 police officers were present at the spot. It's just that the number of tourists there was so overwhelming that it went beyond their control.
If the bridge was already deemed unsafe, why wasn't an alternate route or reconstruction prioritized? On 4th July 2024, the PWD issued an order after MLA Bigade raised a demand. By 11th July, an official letter of approval was sent. 8 crore was sanctioned, officials inspected the site and prepared the design. Almost a year later, on 10th June 2025, the work order was finally issued. But just 5 days later, the bridge collapsed, claiming 4 lives.
बड़े शहरों में ये बना रहा है, लेकिन वो जो है छोटे छोटे गांवों में बनाने की ज़रूरत है, वहाँ पे वो नहीं बना रहे। गवर्नमेंट को ऐसा लग रहा है कि यहाँ से उठ के अपने को कम मिलेगा, इनके पास ध्यान देने का ज़रूरत नहीं है। अभी जो ब्रिज गिर गया तो कल देखा मैंने मेरे सामने की बहुत सारे मतलब पॉलिटिक्स सब इधर आए थे। ये पहले आते थे 2-3 महीने में देख के जाते थे, भाव बारिश है शुरू होने वाली है तो ये ब्रिज नहीं गिरता था और इतनी जो दुर्घटना हुई है वो नहीं होती थी।
Even now, no one has a straight answer on why the construction was delayed for so long in Mawal. The responsibilities passed around, but accountability remains elusive.
8 कोटीचा एक ब्रिज ऑलरेडी मंजूर आहे, पण त्याच्याबद्दलची उत्तमभूत सगळी माहिती नीटपणे कलेक्टरला द्यायला सांगितलेली। कलेक्टर म्हणले काही काळामध्ये तुम्हाला देईल।
तो उन्होंने पत्र मेरे से मांगा था, तो मैंने दिया था कि ऐसा ऐसा पुल खराब हो गया, इधर पुल की ज़रूरत है। उसके लिए नया पुल भी मंजूर हो गया था, लेकिन थोड़ा सा स्थानिक लेवल पे प्रॉब्लम की वजह से रुक गया था काम।
ये हो सकता था जल्दी, लेकिन सैंक्शन होने में उसको टाइम लगा। तो हमारी मांग थी, लेकिन उतना उस टाइम पे के लोगों ने सीरियसली नहीं लिया। यहाँ पे मिलिट्री एरिया है, आपने देखा रहेगा आप जहाँ पे, तो मिलिट्री में बहुत सारे डेवलपमेंट में बाकी लोग रिस्ट्रिक्शन आते हैं।
The systemic blame game continues here in Pune as we lost 4 more of our countrymen to another tragedy. While the losses suffered by the families of those 4 people are irreparable, the people living in Kundamala village have also suffered heavily because of this, as the bridge collapse has potentially cut down on their access to at least 6 of the nearby villages for at least next 12 months, increasing the time required to travel and the resources. With camera person Arvind, this is Anuj reporting for NDTV from Pune.
Jitendra Dudi is the district collector of Pune and he's joining us. Mr. Dudi, there were several questions being raised about this bridge. The bridge was 30 years old. There were clear instructions that it is only for the pedestrians, but two-wheelers were used frequently. There are images which show that clearly. If you had, why did you just stop at issuing prohibitory orders that the bridge should not be used? Why wasn't it closed? Knowing fully well that this was the tourist season.
There are 2 important things. First thing is that a prohibition order was already in place with regard to all the locations in Pune district wherein there is a river water flow and any kind of water flow is there. So this location was also included in that, and there was SOP with regard to that. The SOP was in place, administrative officials were there, and along with that we have also put in a board there saying that this bridge is not in use and it should not be used. However, it was being used at that point of time. Many people had visited that bridge at that point of time, and more than the capacity of the bridge, people were there on the bridge, and because of that, this unfortunate incident had occurred. We have established a committee to inspect the entire event that had occurred yesterday. A 6-member committee has been established so that we can come to know about whether there was any administrative lapse with regard to this incident. Along with that, we have given the mandate to the committee that they recommend if there is any change required in the SOP that is already in place, with regard to the tourist locations that are generally being visited by the people during the monsoon season, because 7 days ago only I had given this order and we had taken necessary measures with regard to the SOP. However, large number of people had gone there.
But Mr. Dudi, why do you think SOPs were not being followed, particularly with regards to this bridge? Because the potholes had appeared on this bridge and cement blocks were being used to cover the potholes temporarily.
See, so that is what I'm saying, this bridge was not in use. And we had put hoardings as well there to tell the people that this should not be used, and police officials and Gram Panchayat officials were also there, and we had also used the barricading. But it's a short distance as compared to the other routes. So people of the villages generally use this by flouting the directions that have been given. And that is why it is very important to revisit the SOP, that whether we should just, right now we are doing this thing only, that we are putting our human resource there, we are putting boats, we are also barricading that. And still people flout that and they remove the barricades and go uses this kind of bridges. That now, rather than just barricading these old bridges which are out of use and which should not be used, we are in Pune, we are now going to completely dismantle these bridges, so that the question of using them by flouting the rule does not arise.
Okay, so if you are saying that these bridges will be dismantled and that seems to be the only solution to stop perhaps people from using these bridges, then can you give us some numbers in terms of how many such bridges are there in Pune district?
I'm taking report from all the departments. We have done structural audit already. And I have already given them direction to start necessary process to remove all those bridges which are in the dismantling state, so that such kind of situation does not occur. Exact number, these numbers will be given in the due course of time. But whatever may be the number, we are going to remove all these bridges so that the question of flouting the rule and people using these short routes does not occur in future.
The question is also of why wasn't the sanctioned money for the repair of this collapsed bridge used? If the money was sanctioned, why wasn't it used?
There is misinformation with regard to this. I want to clarify once and for all that there is a parallel bridge that has been approved few months ago. Repair money for this bridge has not been approved. A new bridge has been proposed and it has been sanctioned few months ago. The tender of the same was being floated few months ago, 3-4 months ago, and the work order of the same has been given on 10th of June, just 7 days ago only. And the work is about to start. Since we have given work order just 7 days ago only, generally it takes 2 weeks time to start the work. So work is supposed to start for a new bridge. This is not for this bridge. We are not doing any repair of this bridge because this bridge is beyond repair. We are constructing a new bridge which is parallel to this bridge, and that is being done by the PWD department. The work order is being given just 7 days ago. So there is no question of money not being spent.
All right, Mr. Dudi, thank you. Pune District Collector, they're saying that all these old bridges, which are rickety and can collapse because they need multiple repair work, are likely to be dismantled and new bridges built as well. But the question is, what about the movement in the absence of new bridges? Let's bring in KT Ravindran, Senior Urban Designer. We also have Dr. Odair Prakash, who represents petitioners on illegal hoarding issues in Bombay High Court. Multiple such tragedies that we have seen which clearly show that there seems to be no value of human lives. There are stampedes. There was a bridge collapse in Morbi which happened. There was a hoarding collapse. And now we are seeing, this bridge collapse which has happened in Pune. Mr. Prakash, your thoughts on this? Why is it that the administration and the governments take human lives for granted, perhaps?
Unfortunately, you are right in commenting that there is perhaps no value for the life of a human being. We have been witnessing that such incidences are happening in recent past. We have seen there was a bridge collapse so far as the district Raigad near Mumbai is concerned. We have seen the collapse of the holding at Ghatkopar. We have seen several such incidences in recent past. now you will find that every authority which is a regulatory authority or the administrative authority, they will start their blame game. They will try to play little safe, and they will try to show that no, I have not done any mistake. I have not done anything wrong, and whatever was required to be done, that I have completed. I am not at fault. Perhaps there will be few more committees which will be appointed. Perhaps there will be a announcement of some kind of ex gratia. But the fact remains that why we all are not so sensitive about the loss of the life of that human being, merely by giving some lakhs of rupees to the relatives or next kin of those persons who have died, or by giving some kind of a press statement, whether it is sufficient. The value of a life of that person who has lost his life in such unfortunate incident, who is going to fix the responsibility? And therefore, before the Bombay High Court for years together, we have been fighting cases about these kind of illegal holdings, which have virtually encroached upon the personal life of a human being, and up to some extent the life loss of
Okay.
life in some cases. So I feel that now the time has come when the courts are required to intervene and point out what is wrong, how it is going wrong, who is taking it very casually, and what is the required course of action.
Okay, Mr. Ravindran, in this particular case in Pune, there was a warning. In fact, this bridge was, there was a hoarding which was put out as well, a warning sign right next to the bridge that it should not be used. But, tourists continue to use it, other passers-by continue to use it. Then who should be really blamed?
I would say there are a number of issues involved, and we cannot see them only as the immediate issue of non-repair of the bridge. The primary reason is that our cities have failed our youth. The young people have no place in our cities. They are planned so badly. We are so driven by commercial interests and development that we are neglecting any kind of recreational activities for the youth, and they're forced to run to nearby places for entertainment. Now, this is one thing, is that our cities have failed our youth. I think that's one primary reason. Second reason I would say is because now it has become a trend that every development project is a spectacle. It has to be a large spectacle. It has to make many claims. And while we are claiming that, it's ironic that while we have built the biggest span bridge in the world, in India, we have another bridge like this collapsing in another location. So this irony is also a pointer to the kind of skewed development program that we have now. We are now only interested in quote unquote achievements. We are only interested in spectacular projects, and those which require immediate attention in terms of maintenance are neglected on a consistent basis. Now, apart from old things like, in fact, a 32-year-old bridge is not an old bridge. We have hundreds of bridges in this country which are more than 100 years old, and they're hale and healthy, and none of them are collapsing because they're built well. Now, I'm not pointing to the faults that were there in the construction of this bridge. Certainly, one thing is visible, that the maintenance was completely lacking, and any attention to immediate repair was also missing. While such things happen, we have a young group of young people whose aspirations are going high because of the hype in our system, hype in our economy. People are expecting to have very exciting life. They have extra money. They have access to vehicles because we have a system by which we've made vehicular purchases very easy for the whole country through insurance and
Yes.
through loan systems and so on.
That's
and
right.
We have a highly aspirational youth who are not catered for in our cities.
Yes.
Naturally, they will throng this kind of places.
Let me go back to Odair Prakash. Mr. Odair Prakash, in most of these cases, the petitions which are filed for justice have to be about culpable homicide not amounting to murder. And invariably we see that those who are responsible, they get away.
See, there are two important aspects. One is the departmental action which is required to be initiated against the concerned officers or the officials. And the second would be a crime. So far as the registration of a crime is concerned, there are two types our all viewers are aware. One is cognizable offense, second is a non-cognizable offense. So each and every act, each and every action or each and every omission may constitute something. It may be a cognizable offense. If it is a cognizable offense, then police will have to register an offense. If it is a non-cognizable, then police cannot take an FIR. So therefore, one has to find out what kind of a cognizable offense has taken place. Coming back to this incident which you are reporting and the visuals are seen, whether there was any kind of a negligence or whether it was a pure accident, that will be a question to be debated. If somebody wishes to file a offense or register a first information report in respect of this, then they will have to come up within the four corners of the law. And if they make out that case, then and then only the offense will be registered. Otherwise, on the administrative side, there may be some committees, then there may be some kind of a recording of the evidence, some kind of a departmental action. These are the things which are not enough deterrent in the eyes of law. And therefore, you are right in commenting that in most of these cases, the culprit are not really booked, and it takes time. Unfortunately, that is also ground reality.
All right, Dr. Udar Prakash and KT Ravindran, thank you for joining us.